Welcome back to The Picture Show. Today, it's February 15th, the day after Valentine's Day, also known as Single Awareness Day. The chocolate has all been eaten. Some people didn't really have a good relationship this year. So today we're talking about broken love. What happens when there's no happy ending. Take a look at the trailer and we see what movies we'll be talking about. That's right, we're talking about The Breakup, 500 Days of Summer, and The Wedding Singer. Today I'm joined by my special guest, Lauren Wagner.
Hi.
And I guess I should introduce myself. I don't think I did. Alex Christian, host, always. You know, you're used to me at this point. Lauren, I think everyone on planet Earth has dealt with a bad relationship that didn't
End well.
end well. Would you say that you have?
Yes. yes, I have. Would you?
Yeah, I would definitely say I have. I don't think like I said, I don't think anyone has gone through a 100% beginning to end great relationship.
Yeah, always.
So that's why today, you know, it's the day after Valentine's Day, and like I said earlier, it's Singles Awareness Day, unofficial holiday, who knows? And sometimes, like, they don't work out. You don't get that Valentine's that you really wanted to get. You buy the candy hearts and you kind of eat them all by yourself.
While you're crying in the bed.
Yeah. So that's why today we're going to be talking about the movies that kind of delve into that a little bit. Like we got Breakup, we got 500 Days Summer, and we got The Wedding Singer. Some of these might, I think I know one of these actually ends a little bit happier than the others. And so, but we're going to start talking with The Breakup, which was directed by Peyton Reed and released June 2nd, 2006. It was older than I thought it was, because I remember the trailers coming out for this.
I was like 15.
Yeah, I was like, how old was I? Wait, it's like, what, 12 years ago now? And this is Vince Vaughn and Jennifer Aniston, who Vince Vaughn plays Gary Grabowski, Jennifer Aniston plays Brooke Myers. What did you think of the film?
I've seen The Breakup before I watched it again last night. And I'm kind of like go 50-50, like I like it. When I watched it before, I was single, so it was a little different. Now I'm married, and I'm kind of going through some things with, my husband. And so The Breakup is like hits home more about, especially with what they fight about. It's kind of like what we fight about, most people fight about in marriages, is feeling unappreciated.
Yeah, that is a common
So last night,
feeling.
I'll say that I loved it a lot more than I did the first time, because I was a little more emotional yesterday. But overall, like, it goes back and forth, because I do feel like some of the acting was a little could have been better.
And that brings me to my first point, which is really Vince Vaughn's performance. Jennifer Aniston was a great actress. I don't think I've really seen her in a film that I did not like her in.
Yeah.
But when it comes to Vince Vaughn, he's really 50-50. And it's really his comedy that's 50-50. His drama, his like actual like serious acting, usually hits more than his comedy that I've found. His rendition of Psycho was really a miss, but like other stuff that he's done, like I was like, Vince Vaughn's strangely good in this. But it's his form of comedy in this particular movie where he does that fast talking and like then like that stuttering that you're like, it's like, all right, where are you going with this?
Yeah.
And then he drags the joke on just a little too long, and it becomes uncomfortable. And because you're just like, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Like, dude, just do what your wife wants. Stop being like this.
Yeah.
But,
I also don't necessarily like Jason Bateman in this movie.
Really?
I love Jason Bateman, by the way. Let me just say, he's one of my favorite actors. But I guess his part was a little smaller, you know. So, and I felt like the way he played the realtor wasn't. It wasn't Jason Bateman that I know.
I couldn't really get whether or not that was actually a friend moment where he was trying to help him out, or if he was just trying to be a realtor, like, I can get these guys out of the apartment and kind of sell this for a higher bid. And I think he was trying to play both sides.
Yeah.
And but yeah, like he was very very underplayed in this for sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of actors that have smaller parts that are big actors anyway, which I love about Vince Vaughn and his movies is a lot of people are in the same movie with him, like the guy that's bald. I think he's bald with the goatee. The bartender. He's in a lot of Vince Vaughn movies.
He also, I'm sad because I didn't really get his name before this, but he played the chef, and I love that movie. And it pains me to say that I can't remember his name, which is just so sad. And he also plays Tony's agent or specific bodyguard in Iron Man. He's a good actor. I really do like him too.
Yeah.
But like I said, Vince Vaughn was a writer on this movie, so you could see why him playing Gary, his performance is as it is, because he's trying to play to his strength, which is his form of comedy, but it doesn't really work in this movie. I would say this is finally one of the movies I've watched for the picture show that was kind of a dredge.
I feel like some people, I guess it depends on like where you've come from. I feel like it's more of a realistic movie. It's kind of got its funny moments, but it's not supposed to be necessarily like the funny. I feel like if you have to break up with somebody and you have to end up living with them, which is where I've been, you know, I'm at, and it's a stressful situation, you know, to make things work, and it's kind of like what happens in the movie.
Yeah, because I would agree with you that this is kind of a more realistic movie in a sense, because like I want to give props to the ending. Spoiler warnings be known. It's called The Breakup. They don't get back together. It is they broke up. Like, because there's this part in the movie where he learns it's like, oh, I'm a horribly terrible husband. I need to show that I appreciate my wife, or not my wife, his girlfriend, because they weren't even married in this. They came off looking like they were married, but and so he's like, I got to show that I do appreciate her, and he does this big gesture for her, and then she says like by that time, it's too late.
She tried to.
Like, she's like, there's nothing left that I think I can give to you. And so it was like, it was real. And so they do end up breaking up. And then, like, I think a year passes?
I think a year or two.
And they run into each other. And it's like, they're like, oh, it's you. It's like, it's you. It's like, it's been so long kind of thing. And it's just, they like, and you think like, I was like, oh, they're gonna be like, maybe we could try it again. They don't. They just kind of.
Well, they do. I think they ask each other out for coffee.
Yeah. Well, I saw that more as like meeting up because it's been so long.
To catch up.
I did not see it as like a potential date.
Yeah, it was more of a catch-up thing, but catching up can turn into anything.
Yeah.
So I think they left that to the imagination. You can be like, oh, they caught up but went their separate ways, or oh, they caught up and they ended up being together, and you know, so it's just kind of how you want to play it. Certain movies can have sequels, and I feel like that can ruin a lot of things. Like this one, if they could have had a sequel and made it, oh, they got together, they didn't. But I'm glad they left it with your thought process.
And as if by like the grace of Cupid himself, I just remembered that actor's name was John Farrow.
Oh, okay.
I really liked him in all of his films.
And he's in Grown Ups with Adam Sandler.
Oh yeah.
And so I've seen him in a bunch of movies, and he always.
When I first saw him, I thought like because the way he was, I was like, man, Louis C.K. got fat for this film, but I was like, that's just John Farrow. That's not Louis C.K. So final thoughts on this film.
Overall, I liked it. I mean, I liked it because it's more realistic and kind of hits home. But if you really want like an actual movie where you're going to get a Vince Vaughn giggle, it wouldn't be the one for you. I don't think people would like it. I feel like kind of how you would feel. They would think it's just kind of drug on and kind of dredgy.
Yeah.
And so.
I wouldn't recommend watching this for other people. I was like, yeah, you can take it or leave it. It was something I was like, whatever kind of deal. But with that being said, before we move on to our next two films, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we're going to come back and see what's new to Netflix and DVD stay tuned, see what we have to say.
When it comes to getting and staying fit, taking a few steps recommended by the experts on health at the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention may make it easier than you think. Physical activity need not be strenuous to help your health. Just about everyone can benefit from a moderate amount of physical activity every day. This can be done through longer sessions of moderately intense activities, such as 30 minutes of brisk walking, or in shorter sessions of more strenuous activities, such as 15 minutes of jogging. Proper physical activity offers many health benefits. It reduces the risk of dying from coronary heart disease and of developing high blood pressure, colon cancer, and diabetes. Helps maintain healthy bones, muscles, and joints. Helps control weight, build lean muscle, and reduce body fat. Helps control joint swelling and pain associated with arthritis, reduces symptoms of anxiety and depression, and fosters improvements in mood and feelings of well-being. To discover just what activities are best for you, ask your doctor. Learn more at cdc.gov.
Welcome to this week's Netflix and DVD Picks of the Week. I'm Riley Wilkerson. Let's take a look at what we got this week. Available on Netflix is Painted Black, starring Isla Shawkat and Simon Helberg. A young woman attempts to deal with the death of her boyfriend while continuously confronted by her mentally unstable mother. Our next movie is Ella Enchanted, starring Anne Hathaway. While under a spell to be constantly obedient, Ella faces the challenge of keeping this fact from her new stepfamily in order to protect the prince of the land. Next up is Lovesick, starring Johnny Flynn and Antonia Thomas. After finding out he has an STD, Dylan must get back in touch with every woman he has been with to let them know the bad news. Coming soon to DVD is going to be LBJ, starring Woody Harrelson and Jennifer Jason Leigh. The story of this U.S. President, Lyndon B. Johnson, from his young days in West Texas to his rise at the White House. Next up is Keep Watching, starring Bella Thorne and Chandler Riggs. A family becomes imprisoned in their own home by intruders who force them to play a life-and-death game as long as the night unfolds. Last up is Stratton, with Dominic DeCooper and Austin Stowell. A British Special Forces unit tracks down an international terrorist cell with the hopes of preventing a nuclear war. This has been Netflix and DVD. I'm Riley Wilkerson. Back to you, Alex.
All right, we're back, and we're talking about our second film, 500 Days of Summer. And this was directed by Mark Webb, came out August 7th, 2009.
It's old.
Yeah, like how a lot of these films have been out for a
I
while.
feel so old now because I graduated in May of 2009. So.
Oh, wow, I graduated 13.
I'm old, guys.
But it's fine, it's fine.
I just have more experience.
Yeah.
More wisdom.
So, I asked you right before we started this what you thought of this film, and I was surprised by your answer.
Yeah, I hated this movie. Oh, I hated this movie so much. But I'll be honest, I don't like romantic comedies. It's never been something I've been into. I
can't even say this is called a comedy, though. This seems just like a straight romance.
Okay.
I actually really like this film.
Yeah, I don't like romance then. It's just, But I also don't like Zooey Deschanel.
Okay, there's someone else on our crew who also said they don't like Zooey Deschanel.
I know, we're buddies.
And I would say, I didn't really like Joseph Gordon-Levitt before this film. Because, I've only seen him in The Dark Knight, and I've only seen him in Entourage. Didn't like either of his roles.
I liked him in 50-50.
But I saw this, and I was like, oh, I really like this. Interesting, Joseph Gordon-Levitt plays Tom, and Zooey Deschanel plays Summer. They don't really have any last names. I was really surprised by that. And I kind of liked how it was 500 Days Summer. I was thinking it was the holiday, but no, it's he dated her for 500 days. And one of my favorite things about this film particularly was how it scrubbed through the timeline. Because when you watch it yourselves, there's it starts right when they break up.
Yeah, like day
and then it just day 448, and then it just goes all the way back to day 2. Day 1, day 2, and it's how they meet, and then it just goes back and forth through the timeline. And I was really intrigued by that because I was like, this is kind of cool. I like watching these kind of movies out of order the way they do this.
Yeah.
And I was like why Pulp Fiction was such a good film because you see them in a single timeline but through out of order, and they kind of did something similar with this, and I just really liked it.
Yeah.
What did you not like about the film?
Everything. No, I'll be honest. I liked the difference that because it did do things in different orders, and you had to kind of keep up, and you got to see them both change from the beginning, and how she just didn't want to be in a relationship. She was never that kind of person, and he made her realize, that she knows what love is, and she made him realize that, love is not exactly what he thought, but it's still real.
Yeah.
And I mean, I get the message, and I liked the whole message behind it, and I liked that. I kind of like the fact that they went from summer to autumn. I thought that was kind of punny.
Oh, that was going to be one of my points, actually. Where, at the very end, he's just dealing with this, and he's actually trying to achieve his dream of becoming an architect.
He goes
in for an interview, and there's just this girl sitting there, and they're talking. He's like, and they kind of hit it off, and as he's leaving, he's like, do you want to go get some coffee? And she's like, I got to meet somebody. He's like, that's whatever. And then she's like, you know what? Actually, I'll take that coffee. And he's like, yeah, well, what's your name? And she goes like, oh, it's Autumn. And I was just right there. I was like, I get it.
Yeah, it was. I thought
and then
it was funny.
And it goes to the little title card where it goes 500 days summer.
And then
it scrubs to autumn, day 1.
Yeah.
And I was like, I really liked that part. Another thing I liked about it, there was a lot of little trivia about this movie. There's a lot of emphasis on blue in this entire movie because of Zooey Deschanel's eyes. The whole sequence when he's realizing he's in love, and he's because it was right after they spent the night with each other. And you know what happens when a new couple spends the night with each other? He's leaving, and he's just there's this impromptu dance scene that happens, and everyone's wearing blue, and it's just I thought that, I like when movies take color theory into consideration, and really, this felt like a indie film made by a big studio, because this was Fox Searchlight Films, but it felt like it had that kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
And I was really impressed by it.
Yeah, I couldn't get into it really. I couldn't follow. I followed it, but I just was I was ready for the whole thing to just be kind of over. I don't like Zooey Deschanel. I just don't. And I mean, I think she's a good actress.
Does she seem like that kind of manic pixie dream girl, girl next door kind of thing that people want but doesn't really exist?
I feel like she plays that role in everything she does. Yeah. It's if she would trade it, she would change it up some. Maybe it'd be, I feel a little bit different. But because she does the same thing every single time, and it's like a repeat. After you hear a song so many times, you don't want to listen to it anymore.
Yeah.
And so after you see her play the same character with a different name every movie, you just kind of don't want to watch her anymore. I think she has great talent, and I think she could do other things. I just wish she'd play a different character.
All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and say that was your final thoughts on that.
Yes.
And so from there, we're going to move on to our third film, which is The Wedding Singer, directed by Frank Corazzini, released on February 13th, 1998.
I was 7.
I was 4.
That's funny.
And I like that this was right before Valentine's Day when this came out.
That's actually my husband's birthday is on the 13th of February.
Well,
so
happy belated birthday to him.
And it's his birthday movie, yay.
Adam Sandler plays Robbie Hart, and Drew Barrymore plays Julia Sullivan. Adam Sandler plays a wedding singer in this, and he actually has a musical history and career. And I would say that it really kind of shows his chops in this. He sang all his parts and did really well. And the whole idea, basically, of this movie is he plays a wedding singer who really believes in love, but when it's his turn to get married, his bride-to-be stands him up at the wedding, and his whole idea of love just crumbles down. And that's why I wanted to put this into this review that we're doing, because it was him having to face the challenge of love wasn't real for him at that point.
Yeah.
And even though him and Drew Barrymore get together during the actual movie at the very end, because she's about to marry off this jerk who openly admits to cheating on her. What did you think of this film?
This was actually the first time I watched it. Was yesterday.
Same for me.
Yesterday before this. And I really liked it. I've always liked Adam Sandler, so I've heard that this was a good movie. I've stayed away from it due to it being a romantic comedy. It's just because it's not my genre, and I'm not a huge fan of Drew Barrymore, but she did great in this movie.
I think this was one of the first times they were on
together.
Screen together.
And then 50 First Dates wasn't something I was a big fan of. I feel like their chemistry was a little different. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't the same movie, I guess. But I loved the comedy in this movie. I loved the...
Oh, yeah, I was told by multiple people that the first 10 minutes of this film is chock full of, quotable lines.
Yes, I love Rosie, the old lady. She's my favorite. She is my old spirit animal when I get older. And I think and she's in another Adam Sandler movie as his grandma,
Right.
Happy Gilmore.
Yeah.
And I love that Adam Sandler uses a lot of the same people in all of his movies, and it's like a family,
Yeah.
and it makes the dynamic of the movie so much more real and a lot of fun. So I loved this movie.
And I watched it yesterday, and because I was, like I said, that was my first time watching it, and I sat there, I enjoyed it. It was it made me laugh at a few things. It made it was a good paced film. At the end of it, I was just like, what's to talk about? Because it was very much like an open, close, shut. That's the movie right there.
Yeah.
And we could be up here and quoting lines from it and making jokes, but I was trying to think how much really is there to talk about with this film. And before we do that, we're actually going to take one more break, and we're going to come back and after we see what's playing this Friday. So stay tuned and see what we have.
When I lost my sight, the only thing I had was reading.
When you discover you have an impairment, it can change your life. So take a little time to find the resources that are going to help you restore what you've lost.
Whatever your needs are, 99.9% of them can be met by the NLS program.
There's all kinds of formats that you can choose from. You can choose from large print or braille or audio.
Just can't recommend it enough. It's a free service. It's amazing how much you can get.
It has expanded my horizon.
And everybody can read the way they want to read using this program.
For more information about the National Library Service for the Blind and Physically Handicapped, Library of Congress, visit loc.gov/thatallmayread or call 1-888-NLS-READ.
Welcome back, Movie Flickies, to another Friday's Flick Picks. I'm Terry Hawkins, and without doubt, our most anticipated movie this spring we have is Black Panther, starring Chadwick Boseman. After the death of his father, the King of Wakanda, T'Challa, returns home to the isolated, technologically advanced African nation to succeed the throne and take his rightful place as king. Here's a trailer.
I have seen gods fly. I've seen men build weapons that I couldn't even imagine. I've seen aliens drop from the sky.
Yeah.
But I have never seen anything like this. How much more are you hiding?
Hold up. Let's go.
We are home. My son, it is your time.
Show me my respect and bow down.
You get to decide what kind of king you are going to be. Don't freeze.
I never freeze.
The revolution will not be televised. Show me my respect and bow down. We own ya. We own ya. We only getting started now. Cause we own ya. Everybody think they know me now. Cause we own ya. You and I'm a homie now. Cause we own ya.
I waited my entire life for this. The world's gonna start over. I'ma burn it all.
What happens now determines what happens to the rest of the world.
You will not be able to stay home, brother. You will not be able to plug in, turn on, and cop out.
Wakanda forever!
The revolution will not be televised.
Let's have some fun.
The revolution will be live.
Now, wow, that trailer was a real knockout. Now, back to the Pick Show.
Welcome back. We're talking about love films that don't work out, and we're looking at The Wedding Singer. Lauren, what were your thoughts?
Overall, like I said, I'm not a rom-com fan, so that's why I strayed away from this movie. But I'm glad that you kind of picked this one and forced me to kind of like watch it basically, because I do like Adam Sandler. It just I wasn't necessarily wanting to watch a romantic comedy, but I'm glad I did. I thought it was a great movie. I thought it was written great. I thought it was acted great. The chemistry between everybody was great. I loved it. I thought it had a lot of good humor and it's definitely recommended, even if you're not in love.
Yeah. So with these 3 films, we took a look at a relationship that didn't work out, and that was the end of it. Took a relationship that didn't work out, and then immediately found someone new to start with, and then we found a relationship that just worked itself into a completely new one.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be a pretty good gambit of love and emotions, especially for Valentine's Day.
Yeah, a little bit of everybody, how they all feel on this lovely day.
I would definitely say that I enjoyed watching all of these films. I'm kind of a fan of rom-com, but I would say that rom-com has kind of fell out of popularity within recent years.
Yeah.
And so that's why most of these are from years ago.
Yeah, and there seem to be a little bit better than today's rom-coms.
Yeah. But I felt pretty connected with the breakup. I really enjoyed 500 Days of Summer, and I was entertained by Wedding Singer.
Yeah, for sure.
But so those were the movies that we watched for February 15th, Single Awareness Day. Always make sure that you're looking for the right one out there. And tune in next week because usually I make a joke to what we're reviewing, but I'm not making a joke. It's Black Panther, all right? It's a huge movie. We're watching Black Panther. Tune in. We're going to have a special guest. It's going to be great. See you then.